Wait, that's not right, and you know it. Olivia mutters, but echoes loud in a frenzy, her gloved hand smudging the flawed proof on the board as execs whirl. Coffee cups tipping. Reynolds lunges for her arm, Ellen's face paling like he's seen a ghost. Unknown to them, she mopped their floors for 6 years. They never knew she was a math genius. They cracked up when a millionaire offered $25,000 to crack the equation. They joked about the cleaning lady. What they didn't know, that cleaning lady was about to rescue the tech empire and dismantle the guy who buried her dad's legacy. This is a real-life tale of when the overlooked turns the tables. Stick around, you won't see this twist coming. While you're here, smash that subscribe button. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and tell us where you're tuning in from. You know that feeling when people look right through you, like you're just part of the furniture. That's how Olivia Peters felt every single day. Picture this. It's a frantic Tuesday morning in New York City, and Olivia is wiping down the conference table on the 42nd floor of IBM's Madison Avenue headquarters, one of the biggest tech giants in the world. She's in her blue uniform, hair pulled back tight, eyes focused on the job. And in the boardroom right there, there's yelling, "Someone solve this damn equation now." The voice is George Ellens, the Millionaire CEO himself. His face is flushed, and he's jabbing at a whiteboard crammed with a tangled algorithm like it's about to explode. Olivia pauses her wipe down. She can see through the glass walls into that high-stakes room. Tailored suits, smart watches, folks pulling in six figures before lunch while she scrapes by. The Silicon Valley partner dropped this AI optimization puzzle, entirely unsolved. Ellen rants on. We got 72 hours to crack it, or Aurora AI hands a billion-dollar deal to rivals like Google. Anybody here got the chops for this? The execs glance around. Awkward quiet. Then Mark Reynolds, the vice president, snickers. It's not a friendly chuckle. Hey, maybe ask the janitor. He cracks, nodding at Olivia. Bet they cover quantum computing in custodian training. Huh? The place bursts into laughs. Olivia keeps her focus low, keeps buffing the surface, but her grip tightens because here's what they don't know. Olivia cracks complex equations like they're riddles, mastering advanced calculus, linear algebra, and quantum models too. She grew up tackling them all in her family's Queens apartment, daughter of a Brooklyn mom and a Jamaican dad who was an engineering whiz. I'll sweeten the pot, Ellen declares, his tone thundering. Anyone who solves this beast of an AI equation spot on in 48 hours scores my daily salary. That's $50,000. $50,000. Olivia's phone vibrates in her pocket. It's a message from her landlord. Final warning. Cough up $24,000 back rent by Friday, or you and your mom are evicted. Papers filed. Her mom. Olivia pictures her back in their cramped Brooklyn spot, wired to a glucose monitor that's beeping warnings. The same mom who was a sharp bookkeeper before diabetes, and the system chewed her up before the debt stacked high, before it all crumbled. In her pocket, Olivia's fingers brush something solid and familiar, a graphing calculator. Not any old one. Her dad's TI-89, the tool he prototyped IBM's early AI breakthroughs with. The one he passed to her on her 18th birthday, just months before IBM axed him after 20 years. 2 decades engineering their core algorithms, optimizing data flows, schooling suits on ethical AI without the buzzwords. Then poof, he was out. Cost cutting, they said. No payout, no goodbye, just vanished. When he couldn't land work elsewhere, when the industry whispers blackballed him, the strain sparked his heart attack. Gone in 6 months, leaving 19-year-old Olivia and her mom buried in hospital bills. Now she's 25. She pulls 3 gigs, scrubbing IBM offices from 5 p.m. to midnight, tutoring math freelance online under an alias from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., and tending to her mom in every spare second. Maybe 3 hours of shut-eye at night. The math of scraping by is cold and unforgiving. $2,500 for rent, $900 on insulin and pills, $500 toward her dad's lingering medical debt, $400 for bodega staples, $300 for the Metro card and bills. Month after month, no breaks. For 6 years, she's been a shadow in this tower, gliding through corridors unseen, Dumping bins as execs hash out billion-dollar plays in code and models they figure she couldn't touch. But she gets it all. She knows Ellen gutted pensions to snag his Hamptons getaway. Knows Reynolds ripped off a killer all-go from an intern named Jamal and claimed it. Knows the firm's diversity talk is smoke. Janitors mostly black and Latino folks. Execs 95% white Ivy League brothers smarts without a shot, brains without a ladder. And now this equation, this shot, this $50,000 that could rescue her mom, hold on to their home, let them catch a breath after years of drowning. But showing her gift, that could wreck it all. What if she bombs? What if they boot her for stepping up? What if the outfit that tortured Dad's path cashes in on her buried skill? As the suits shuffle out, griping about their solver snag, Olivia spots something on the table. They've ditched the whiteboard sketch. Just the core variables glaring back. She eyes it mid-wipe. Her pulse skips. She knows the setup. Her dad pioneered the base for this exact AI framework 7 years back, before they dumped him, before IBM acted like his know-how was disposable. The twist of fate chokes her. Olivia checks the wall clock. 72 hours to deadline. 72 hours to eviction court. In her pocket, her dad's calculator weighs like lead. What would you do? Step from the dark and gamble it all? Or stay hidden, play safe, and let your life shatter? Olivia Peters is about to pick a path that flips everything. That night, Olivia can't crash out. Sleeps a stranger anyway. She's at their tiny kitchen table in the squeeze Brooklyn pad. Her mom's out in the living room. They turned it bedroom style since stairs are a no-go now. The monitor hums low, a non-stop nudge of all they've dropped. The eviction paper mocks from the table. Red cap screaming. Final. 72 hours. Olivia grabs her phone. Scans snaps she took of the whiteboard mess. Just key bits. Enough to gauge the beast. Her hands tremble, not scared, furious, 'cause she nails it cold. Every variable, every naughty term, every ethical snag. This is her turf, her edge, her dad's gift who swore numbers bridge worlds. Numbers are power, baby girl. He'd say over kitchen pizza, blending Jamaican warmth with tech smarts. Crack someone's code, you hit their core, that strength they can't snatch. But they snatched it, right? Snatched his gig, his pride, his ticker. Snatched her MIT shot. She got in for computer science. Full ride, a horizon blazing bright. Then Dad got canned. Then he passed. Then Mom's diabetes flared wild. Then 19-year-old Olivia chose dreams or keeping them afloat. She picked afloat. Now she tutors calculus online as equation bridge. 5 stars. Over 400 gigs done. Clients coast to coast. But mum's the word. Can't slap it on a resume. Spilling means ditching the skimpy health plan from her mop job. The plan propping her mom up. Olivia decides at 2 a.m. No full reveal. Too risky. But dip a toe? Yeah. Friday night pulls her back to IBM. Her uniform's prime cover for late access. The guard, Carlos, nods weary. Extra shift? He asks in his thick Bronx lilt. Mom's meds don't pay themselves. Olivia shoots back, amping her quiet tone. Playing the part they buy. The one that shields her. Carlos gets it. He's got 2 kids. Pulls doubles too. Carlos gave her that tired nod and turned back to his phone. Olivia rolled her cart past security like always, but tonight her heart was hammering so loud she swore the cameras could hear it. She waited until the elevator hit the empty 42nd floor. Lights dimmed to emergency red. The city glittering 42 stories below like scattered circuitry. The boardroom door clicked shut behind her. Silence. The whiteboard still glowed under the exit signs, that monster equation staring back, taunting. She pulled off her yellow gloves, fingers shaking. For a second she was 10 again, sitting at the chip table in South Jamaica, Queens, grease-stained pizza box open, her dad Jamal leaning over her shoulder to shoulder. See, Livy, he'd whisper, drawing derivatives on a napkin with a ballpoint. Math don't care where you from. It only cares if you tell the truth. Pepperoni sent his quiet laugh, the way he tapped the napkin like it was gold. Those nights were church mouse quiet, so Mom could sleep after double shifts. Then the memory flipped. The day the HR lady handed him the box, restructuring, no eye contact. 6 months later, the heart attack in the 169th Street bodega line. Funeral on a rainy Thursday. MIT acceptance letter still unopened in her drawer while she filled out janitorial applications. Olivia blinked back to now. She clicked on her father's battered TI, 89. The screen flickered alive like it remembered her. 20 minutes later, the first third of the equation lay cracked open, clean and elegant, the kind of beauty only a few people on Earth would even knew how to see. She wrote Shadow Solver in the bottom corner, letters so small they looked like a smudge. She stepped back, chest tight, and opened the little leather notebook she carried everywhere, Dad's handwriting still sharp on every page. One line jumped out. Truth is the only variable they can't erase. Have you ever had to hide who you really are just to keep the lights on and your mama breathing? If the story is already cutting you the same way it cut her, stay with me. Some kids out there scrubbing floors tonight need to know brilliance, can wear a janitor's uniform and still burn bright enough to light up the whole damn sky. They deserve to see how this ends. She snapped the notebook shut, slipped the calculator back into her pocket next to her heart, and disappeared into the hallway like she'd never been there at all. Wednesday, 7:12 a.m. The elevator dinged, and the 42nd floor came alive with the smell of overpriced espresso and entitlement. Olivia was already there, pushing her cart past a glass wall like every other morning, invisible again. Inside the boardroom, the whiteboard had become a shrine. George Ellen stood front and center, arms folded, staring at the new, flawless third of the equation glowing under the morning sun. A dozen execs crowded behind him, murmuring like they'd seen a miracle. Then Mark Reynolds stepped forward, sleeves rolled up, fake exhaustion in his eyes. "You're not going to believe this," he said, voice thick with rehearsed awe. "But I couldn't sleep. Pulled an all-nighter. Finally cracked the first segment." He picked up the eraser, slow and dramatic, and wiped away the tiny Shadow Solver signature like it was dust. The room erupted in applause, back slaps. Someone even shouted, "That's our guy." Ellen clapped Reynolds on the shoulder, so hard the man stumbled forward, grinning like he'd won the lottery. "Mark, you beautiful bastard," Ellen boomed. "Keep this up, and that corner office is yours by Friday." Olivia stood just outside the doorway, rag in hand, polishing the same spot on the glass over and over. Her reflection stared back, eyes burning. She felt the rage climb her throat like bile. That was her proof. Her 20 minutes of truth. Her father's legacy. Stolen in 20 seconds. She forced her hand to keep moving in slow circles while her mind raced. The new variables they'd added overnight, those weren't random. They were lifted straight from Dad's unpublished 2017 paper, the one he'd worked on in secret after they started freezing him out. The same paper IBM buried when they fired him. The ultimate middle finger. They were literally standing on Jamal Peters' grave and calling it progress. By 10 p.m. that night, the building was empty again. Olivia let herself back in, heart still raw. She didn't hesitate this time. She attacked the next third of the equation with a dry erase marker that smelled like victory and vengeance, lines flowing clean and merciless. When she finished, she left 3 deliberate breadcrumbs, tiny annotations only someone who truly understood would notice, then signed Shadow Solver again, smaller, sharper, impossible to miss if you were actually looking. She stepped back, breathing hard. They want to play? Fine. She'd keep feeding them genius until they choked on it, or until they finally saw whose daughter was holding the pen. They weren't ready for what came next. Neither was she, but she was done letting them erase her twice. Thursday, 4:47 a.m. Olivia's phone screamed on the F-train platform in Brooklyn. "Miss Peters, your mother's unconscious. Blood sugar 28. We're sending an ambulance to 1430 Gates Avenue. Now." She ran the last 8 blocks home, uniform still on, lungs on fire. The EMTs were already wheeling Mom out, oxygen mask fogging with every shallow breath. Olivia climbed in back, clutching her mom's cold hand while the siren wailed all the way to Kings County Hospital. Our doctor didn't sugarcoat it. Severe hypoglycemia. She needs ICU monitoring for glucose, maybe a week. We require an $8,000 deposit before admission. Olivia stared at the clipboard like it was written in another language. $8,000. She had $312 in her checking and a maxed-out credit card with a $500 limit. At 9:02 a.m., her phone buzzed again. A photo from the super. New locks on their apartment door. Eviction stickers slapped across it like a death notice. They'd moved it up 24 hours. 36 hours until she and her mom were officially homeless. Back at IBM by noon, the building felt colder. Reynolds was holding court in the hallway, showing off new motion sensor cameras pointed straight at the boardroom door. Shadow Solver thinks they're cute, he bragged to a cluster of junior execs. We'll have their face by tonight. Corporate espionage doesn't fly on my watch. Olivia kept her head down, pushing her cart past them, heart jackhammering. 36 hours to finish the equation. 36 hours until the street. That night, she worked like a ghost with no name. Supply closet on 41, fluorescent bulb flickering. She balanced her dad's notebook on a box of paper towels and solved the next section by flashlight. Women's bathroom. Third stall. She taped printouts under the sanitary box lid and scribbled corrections on toilet paper when she ran out of space. Elevator maintenance room. She had whole pages under the cleaning cart's false bottom, praying the wheels didn't shift. Every marker stroke felt like stealing time from death itself. Her mom lay in a hospital bed with no deposit, apartment sealed, Reynolds circling like a shark who smelled blood. She was cornered on every side, but cornered animals still have teeth. Olivia wiped sweat from her eyes, capped the marker, and whispered to the empty corridor, "Not today. You don't get to take everything twice." She had 36 hours to turn invisible into unstoppable. Thursday, 11:47 p.m. The janitor's break room smelled like bleach and burnt coffee. Olivia was stuffing her backpack, ready to sneak another hour on the equation. When the door slammed shut behind her, Mark Reynolds leaned against the frame, arms crossed, her father's silver tie, 89 dangling from his fingers like a trophy. Looking for this? His smile was thin and ugly. Funny thing, found it in your locker during a routine security sweep. Expensive toy for a cleaning lady. Olivia's stomach dropped, but she kept her face blank, the practiced soft mumble ready. "That's personal property, sir. Please give it back." Reynolds laughed, low. "Personal? You've been trespassing after hours, tamper with company IP. That's industrial espionage, sweetheart. One call to security and you're in cuffs. Another call to Medicaid fraud and your mama's little hospital vacation ends real quick. Expired paperwork, undocumented caregiver, messy stuff." He stepped closer, twirling the calculator. "I know it's you, Shadow Solver. Cute nickname, but the game's over." Something snapped inside her chest. 6 years of swallowed words, of yes or no, sir, of shrinking, of burying the girl who once got a perfect 1600 on the math SAT. The rage rose so fast it tasted like metal. Olivia straightened. When she spoke, her voice was clear, crisp, Queens-educated, and unafraid. "Touch my mother's coverage, and I will burn this entire floor down with the truth. You have no idea whose work you've been stealing." Reynolds blinked, actually blinked like he'd been slapped. For the first time he saw her, really saw her, and the smugness flickered. She stepped forward and snatched the tie, 89, from his hand. Their fingers brushed. His were ice, hers were fire. Right then, something in her broke and rebuilt itself stronger. If you've ever been threatened by someone who thinks they own your future, you know that fire. Don't look away now. This is the moment the invisible start fighting back. Stay until the end. People like Olivia need witnesses. She slid the calculator into her pocket, right over her heartbeat, and walked past him without another word. The mask was off. Tomorrow morning the whole building would know whose daughter she was. And Reynolds had just lit the match that was about to burn his world down. Thursday, 9:03 a.m. The 42nd floor conference room was packed, ties tight, faces tighter. George Ellen sat ahead, like a king on a throne made of panic. Mark Reynolds stood at the whiteboard, markers squeaking, presenting his breakthrough like a peacock spreading stolen feathers. Gentlemen, as you can see, the optimization converges here. He tapped a line that made Olivia's skin crawl. She pushed the door open without knocking. Still in her blue uniform, yellow gloves peeled off, spray bottle swinging from 2 fingers like a loaded gun. Every head snapped toward her. Reynolds actually sneered. Little early for housekeeping, sweetheart. Olivia didn't flinch. She walked straight to the board, eyes locked on the mess he'd drawn. That convergence is imaginary. You ignored the second-order privacy tensor. Run this live and you'll vacuum up every user's biometric data. Without consent. FTC violation. Class action lawsuits. Minimum $12 billion in exposure. Maybe more if Europe joins the party. The room went dead silent. A pin drop would have sounded like a bomb. Reynolds tried to laugh. We don't need a janitor's opinion. My name is Olivia Peters. She cut in, voice ringing clear. Daughter of Dr. Jamal Peters, the man who wrote the ethical framework you're butchering right now. She pulled out her phone, opened the freelance profile equation bridge. 5 glowing stars for 112 completed projects, clients from NASA to Goldman. Held it up for the entire table. Gasps rippled. Ellen leaned forward, eyes wide. Olivia turned white. Olivia didn't wait. She snatched a marker from Reynolds' frozen hand and rewrote the proof in one unbroken flow. Numbers cascading like water finding its own level. 30 seconds. Perfect. She capped the marker, turned to Ellen. You offered $50,000 in your daily salary to whoever solves it. I just did. Contract in writing. Full job protection. And I want my father's calculator back from Mr. Reynolds' drawer right now. Ellen stared at her like he was seeing a ghost stand up and demand its name back. Then, slowly, he nodded. Somebody get legal up here. Miss Peters, you've got 18 hours and every resource this company has. Don't make me regret this. Reynolds opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Olivia met his eyes, calm and cold. Checkmate, Mark. The boardroom erupted in chaos, but she was already walking out. Spray bottle left on the table like a mic drop. The invisible girl had just stepped into the light, and the whole damn building felt the heat. Thursday night bled into Friday morning. They'd locked Olivia in a windowless conference room on 40, a laptop, a whiteboard, and a badge access only. She hadn't slept in 40 hours, running on vending machine coffee and the kind of fear that tastes metallic. Pages of calculations covered every surface. Her dad's tie, 89, glowed beside the keyboard like a night light. The solution was almost done. Beautiful, airtight, the kind of proof that could have made Jamal Peters proud. 3:17 a.m. The door clicked open. Reynolds strolled in holding a full carafe. Fake concern plastered on his face. Burning the midnight oil, Miss Peters? Thought you could use a refill. Before she could stand, he tripped. The entire pot of scalding coffee avalanched across the table. Laptop hissed, sparked, died. Handwritten sheets turned to brown mush. The server backup icon spun, then vanished, deleted remotely, right in front of her eyes. Reynolds shrugged, voice syrupy. Oops, clumsy me. He walked out, humming. Olivia stared at the wreckage. 16 hours of work dissolved into coffee-stained ruin. The room tilted. For the first time since her father's funeral, she sank to the carpet, knees hitting hard, and cried, ugly, choking sobs that scraped her throat raw. Mom in the hospital with no deposit. Apartment padlocked. Everything gone. She pressed her forehead to the soak table and whispered, I can't do this again. I can't lose everything twice. Silence answered. Then her backpack shifted in the corner. She crawled to it, hands shaking, unzipped the inner pocket. There it was, the battered leather notebook her dad carried everywhere. The one IBM never got their hands on. Page after page of his original 2017 research. The exact foundation Aurora AI had twisted into this nightmare equation. His handwriting, still strong, still proud. Margins full of notes only she could read. Privacy is not optional. Ethics over profit, always. Olivia wiped her face with the sleeve of her uniform, stood up, and laughed once, short, fierce, almost crazy. Reynolds thought he'd drowned her proof. He'd only given her the original source. She cracked the notebook open under the emergency lights, rolled up her sleeves, and started writing on the glass walls with a dry erase marker like a woman possessed. 18 hours was still plenty. This time the truth wasn't borrowed. It was inherited. And nobody was taken from her again. Friday, 5:12 a.m. The little conference room looked like a madwoman's war room. Every window was a battlefield of numbers. Olivia scrawled in frantic black marker, arrows leaping from pane to pane, pages from her dad's notebook taped up with blue painter's tape she'd stolen from maintenance. The carpet was littered with coffee cups and shredded posts. Her eyes burned red, but her hand never stopped moving. She worked alone, possessed, whispering the proofs aloud like prayers. Dad, stay with me, stay with me. 7:41 a.m. The last integral locked into place. She stepped back, chest heaving, and stared at the cathedral of math she'd built on glass. It was flawless. It was terrifying. It was everything they'd tried to bury. 8:57 a.m. 2 minutes before the deadline call. Olivia's marker slipped from her fingers and clattered to the floor. She didn't even flinch. She just stood there in her wrinkled uniform, hair wild, hands streaked black, breathing like she'd run a marathon. The big screen flickered alive. Aurora AI's logo filled the wall, then split into a dozen Silicon Valley faces. George Ellen strode in with the board, Reynolds trailing behind looking smug and sleepless. Ellen cleared his throat. Dr. Chun, we're ready to present the... He stopped, because on the screen, Dr. Maya Chun, Aurora's legendary CEO, the woman who wrote her Stanford thesis on Jamal Peters' ethics models, wasn't looking at Ellen. She was staring straight past him, eyes wide, lips parted. Jamal? She whispered, then caught herself. No. Her gaze locked on Olivia standing in the background, marker stains on her cheeks like war paint. Olivia Peters, Maya said, voice cracking with something between shock and reverence. My God, it's really you. The entire IBM side of the call froze. Ellen turned slowly. Reynolds went pale. Maya leaned closer to the camera, smiling like she'd just found something sacred. Everybody at Aurora has been waiting 7 years to meet the daughter Jamal always said would outshine us all. Olivia lifted her chin, exhausted, unshaven, unbreakable. Dr. Chun, she said, voice steady for the first time in days. Let me show you what my father started and what they tried to finish without him. She stepped forward into the light. The final 2 minutes had just become the rest of her life. Maya Chen's smile vanished, replaced by steel. That equation was never meant to be solved the way you tried. She said quietly, we made it impossible on purpose. A loyalty test. We want to know if IBM still honored Jamal Peters' ethical framework, or if he'd thrown it away with the man himself. Every executive turned to stone. Maya continued, Aurora will sign the billion-dollar deal today, but only if Olivia Peters personally oversees integrity and ethics for the entire joint project. Non-negotiable. Ellen opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Then Olivia tapped her phone. Security footage filled the screen. Reynolds at 3:17 a.m., tripping, pouring coffee, deleting files. Crystal clear. Ellen's face went the color of old paper. Mark, you're done. Security, escort him out. Now. Reynolds swayed, ghost white, mouth working like a fish. 2 guards grabbed his arms. He didn't even fight. He just stumbled out, shoes dragging, the door slamming behind him like a coffin lid. George Ellen sank into his chair, slow, heavy. Not a heart attack, just the weight of knowing he'd almost tanked his empire because he laughed at the wrong woman. He looked up at Olivia, voice hoarse. The 50,000 is yours. Maya added, and Aurora is wiring another 50 today for media consulting services. 100 grand. Mom's hospital deposit. New locks reversed. A future. 6 months later. Corner office. 52nd floor. Windows facing the Brooklyn Bridge. Director of Ethical AI Implementation. Olivia Peters. Name on the door in brushed steel. Mom lives in a sunny ground floor Flatbush apartment. Full-time nurse. Blood sugar steady for the first time in years. The Jamal Peters Memorial STEM Scholarship just awarded its first 20 grants to NYC public school kids who look like Olivia once did. Hungry, brilliant, unseen. Olivia once asked me to promise I'd tell her father's story exactly like this. So the next kid scrubbing floors or flipping burgers knows their mind might be worth more than anyone has told them. If the story made you believe that, even for a second, carry it with you. Subscribe, share it, live it. Because some victories only happen when we refuse to let the invisible stay unseen. And somewhere Jamal Peters is smiling.